I went back to my doctor and he told me that my blood pressure was gone, even
Mm,
though he told me that I would be on medication for the rest of my life. And
right.
after 9 months, I was able to lose 77 pounds and all my chronic diseases went away. And since 2016 that I've embraced this lifestyle, I've not been sick a single day.
Wow. That's it right there, man. Hi, I'm Chris James, and you're watching A Healthy Alternative. It's a crazy day today because I'm in Dallas, Texas, and it is snowing, which is just insane. But today I've got a very special guest all the way from the UK. Oliver is here with us to share a little bit about his health and wellness journey. He dealt with a plethora of different diseases, being, overweight, and was able to reverse everything. And I just saw in a little clip that you sent me, I don't even know if it's time to reveal this or not, but do you want to share how old you are?
I'm 54.
54.
Yeah.
I definitely was a little taken back. I was like, yo, this man looks incredible for 54. So if you guys are interested in hearing a little bit more about his journey, that's coming up. Stay tuned. All right, Oliver, thank you so much for joining us all the way from the UK. How are you feeling today?
Yeah, I'm very fine. Thank you, Chris. And I would like to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story on your show.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. I like to think of a healthy alternative as a hub to share wellness information. So, you know, I'm grateful for you being here. Now, in order for us to kind of set the stage for the conversation, could we briefly go over I don't want to go in details yet, but I just want to know, like, what were some of the issues you were dealing with when you started your wellness journey?
Yeah, when I started my wellness journey, I was dealing with high blood pressure. I had massive headaches every day or every other day. And in fact, I had to have some painkillers in my wallet all the time because of that. I had dandruffs, chest pain, back pain, abscesses. So every single week I had to have some abscesses. And I had some joint pain as well, some dental problems. Every 2 to 3 months, I had to see the dentist. And obviously, my weight was at that time 220 pounds.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, when you started, like, how old were you when you actually started to want to reverse and deal with your issues?
Yeah, I was 46. And that's
Okay.
why a lot of people think that it's too late, but I was 46 when I started this journey.
Yeah, because, with the amount of different things you were dealing with, it sounded like, you had a lot of time to essentially break down your body. And for you to one of the things I noticed through our personal wellness journey over on our side is that when you started to heal your body, you do start to look younger. So what was well, first, let me ask you this. I'd like to know, how did you get to that place where you were dealing with so many different issues to the point where you were carrying around medication in your wallet? Like, how did you get to that point? What was your lifestyle like?
Yeah. So normally I was born and raised in Africa. I'm from Africa originally, from the Democratic Republic of Congo. And when I was growing up, basically at that time, I'm 54. So at that time, there were no computer games and all that. So we used to play around all the time. So I was very lean. And I was like that until my late 20s. And it's just when I left my country, I went to South Africa and then I came to the UK. It's when the weight starting to piling up
Mm,
because back home I was mostly eating um, a lot of whole foods. There was not much of meat, animal product, dairy product, processed food, and all that. But when I moved to South Africa and then the UK, all this food was readily available. So I was eating a lot of animal product, dairy product, processed food, and all that. And that's how all this starting to get out of control. And I even remember I was really, really having some really bad eating habit. So until midnight, I would have my bottle of Coca-Cola with some biscuits or some cakes and stuff like that. And
mm.
that's why I got into all this mess.
Ah. How much meat would you say, like meat, dairy? How much were you eating when you were in Congo versus when you moved to South Africa or, the UK?
Yeah, I would say, for example, in Congo, I will have just maybe meat once a day, but it will be just maybe just one piece. That's it, finish. But it's not like here in the UK. You wake up in the morning, you have your salami. At your lunch, you have a lot of meat. At night, you have maybe fish and something like that. So here in the UK, every single meal I had to have some kind of animal product. But
Mm,
back home, it was not that way. And for example, for the dairy product, uh, I didn't really have that much. Maybe
mm,
just a little bit of you just when you have your tea in the morning, maybe you will have just a little bit of milk in your tea. That's it. And but like for example, to eat yogurt or ice cream, I didn't have these things
mm.
back home.
Yeah, that's very telling. Do you guys would you use goat milk or cow milk? What kind of milk was it?
It was the cow milk,
Cow milk.
cow's
Okay.
milk, but it was mostly the dried wine
Okay.
in powder form. We didn't
Gotcha.
have in liquid yet.
Gotcha. Yeah. Now, was your experience with food um just like more unique to you and your family, or was that like the culture? You guys don't eat a lot of meat in the Congo. You have it's more of a like a treat or something that you have less frequently.
Yes, I would say that. But I would say that back home, we don't really eat too much of meat and all these things. And usually, which is very different, is that back home, if you want to eat meat and all that, it's more expensive than
Mm,
eating all food. That's why most people eat all food. And usually you will see that rich people, uh, usually they eat too much animal product and all that. And that's why they've got all these kind of disease, like high blood pressure, diabetes, kidney problems, and all that. But for most people, they don't have that. It's like, for example, I went back home in 2018, and I spent maybe 2 weeks or something like that. And in all 2 weeks, I only saw one kid who was overweight,
wow.
only one. Most of them, they are just lean and all that, which is
Mm,
different from here in the UK where you see overweight kids everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also curious to know about like the quality of food. So, what you said you ate a lot of whole foods back home. That was great. But then when you moved to like the UK, for example, did you notice a difference in the quality of the whole foods?
Yes, a difference because back home, I think it's more organic. So, for example, when you eat a mango, it's really something that you can take from your tree, or when you go and buy that in the market, it's really from the farmers. So
Mm,
they use very little of pesticide. So the quality was very good, and even the taste is completely different. But for example, the papaya that I eat here in the UK, it's like it's tasteless
yeah.
compare to
Yeah.
the one that I was eating back home. And even when I went to back home in 2018, when I was eating, for example, a pineapple, it's it's like day and night. It's
Mm,
completely different. Here, it's really tasteless.
mm.
Yeah.
So I you're the second person I've met from the Congo. Yeah,
Ah,
but
okay.
I have met many people from, just African countries, and they always say the same thing. They're like, yeah, when I came to the United States, for example, the food, something, it looked beautiful. Like they always talk about how it looks, like it looked incredible, but it didn't taste right. And
Yeah.
I've started to understand that it's because they feed us bioengineered food, genetically modified food, and then, like you mentioned, the pesticides. They spray so much pesticides on our food that they will have to let the food off gas for weeks before they can even handle it. Certain types of foods like potatoes and strawberries, and it's like, how do you think that's healthy? How could you possibly think that that was safe? So it sounds like there's a combination of lifestyle as well as the quality of food that really impacted your health. Now, when you were in your 20s and you were going through this transition, you were eating these different foods. Did it ever cross your mind that this could be detrimental to your health, or like, did you ever consider anything like that?
No, no. When I was eating all this food, for me, I didn't know anything about health. I didn't know anything about alternative health and all these things. So for me, all my trust was in doctors and all that. And for me, all the food that I was eating was the right food. I didn't know anything about that. Even when I was going through all these uh, situation where I was not feeling well and all that, for me, it was normal because that's
Mm,
what we've been told. We've been brainwashed to believe that it's normal to get sick when you age. And because
mm,
I was getting older and older, for me, it was normal that I was getting sick, like I was seeing my friends and all that. And that's why, for example, for all the food that I was eating, for me, it was normal food. And it didn't cross my mind that what I was eating was not right.
mm. And I'm curious to know too, like you had mentioned you had a lot of issues with your teeth. Um, did you develop the issues with your teeth after you left your country, or did you have issues with your teeth in Congo?
No, in fact, I left Congo when I was 29. I only remember going once to the dentist.
Mm,
And I remember it was when I was young. And I was playing with outside with the bees. I was playing with the bees and disturbing them and all that. And one of them bite me, sting me. And I had a swollen cheek. And my mom thought that it was a problem with my teeth. And
ah,
when we went to the doctor, the dentist, that why they had to do something. And that's the only time that I remember going to the dentist until I
wow,
was 29. It's only my problem started when I went to South Africa. That's when
wow.
my problem started.
That's very telling. I told you that I have friends that would come from, African countries. They'd come to America and they would talk about the food and how weird it is here. But I also have had American friends who have gone to Africa or certain countries where it's more like whole food, and they talk about how they can't gain weight. Not only do they not gain weight, they lose weight eating just as much over there than over here. So a lot of people think Americans are just gluttonous, which we are for sure. We're definitely gluttonous, but we also can eat the same amount of food and still gain weight versus go to a different country where we could even lose weight because the food is so toxic here.
Yeah.
So you started having these issues. You're saying that the first thing that you did was you went to the pretty much the Western medical community and you looked to them for help. So what type of relief or what type of treatment or what were they able to do for you to help reverse any of your issues?
Yeah, so basically, for example, I remember it was one day in 2014. I was just sleeping and I was starting to have some really it was very painful in my chest, very, very painful. And I had to wake up my wife and all that. And she wake my son as well, who had to phone the ambulance to come and take me. And
Mm,
so we went to the hospital and my blood pressure was through the roof.
mm,
And what they could do was just to give me some medication. And then after that, my blood pressure didn't get better. And I remember I went again to the doctor at the local surgery and basically told me that it would put me on medication for the rest of my life. And I said no, even though at that time I didn't know what I know now, but I found it very odd to be on medication for the rest of my life. And I said no, I just don't want that. And
mm.
then he said, okay, what are you going to do? And I said, okay, I'm going to join a karate club. So maybe if I do some martial art or some exercise or things like that, maybe my blood pressure will go down. So I even joined a karate club. I was so dedicated that I spent maybe 4 years or something like that, and I think I was left just one belt. I was one belt away for becoming a black belt,
Wow.
but my blood pressure didn't change. It was still the same. And basically, because I refused to get all the medication that the doctor tried to put me on, what I was doing is just to buy some medication, over-the-counter medication. And for example, I was suffering from heartburn as well, and especially when I was eating beans. I will feel really, really bad. And all this medication, I was buying that myself to be able to relieve all the pain that I was going through. Or for example, if I've got some headaches, I will buy some painkillers and stuff like that. So basically to do all these things, I was just buying all of over the counter medication. And basically the medical system, they couldn't do anything for me.
Wow. Well, that's a very common story, right? Like people have, heart attacks, high blood pressure, cholesterol, whatever the case may be, and the doctor gives you really no option to reverse, or there's not even a I'm surprised that there's not a suggestion for lifestyle, because you basically came up with your own idea. I'm gonna join the karate club. I'm gonna get more active. But it would seem that the doctor might suggest that ahead of time. Maybe, hey, you could start doing, yoga, or you could start doing something to help. And they just want to give you the medication.
Exactly.
So was that you had the issue with the high blood pressure, you did your martial arts for a while, you didn't see the change. What was the next moment where you were like, you got to do something different? Like what happened?
Yeah, so the way in the culture, the way we know things is that it's normal, like I've just said, that to be sick. And so for me, because I went to the doctors and they couldn't do anything for me, so for me, I just said to myself that it was normal. I will just continue to, my health will continue to deteriorate, and at some point I will just die. And because, for example, I was suffering, I had lots of joint pain. And for example, my granddad, he was suffering from rheumatoid arthritis. And I was starting to have all these things because I know all my joint, especially on my feet, was really, really hurting. So for me, I thought it was just normal that I would go through that. And just one day, out of the blue, I was just watching a program on YouTube, and there's an Indian yogi who suggested that by stopping eating animal product, it was possible to reverse 70% of the chronic diseases. And when I heard that, because I was following this guy for a long time, and when he said it, I said, okay, I'm going to do that. So it was a certain Wednesday that I watched that program. On Thursday, I came back from work. I had my last meal of meat, and on Friday, I went cold turkey.
Wow.
And on the following week, my symptom worsened. It got worse. I starting to wear. So I had for 3 days, I had headaches that I've never had in my entire life. I had more cold sore. My joints starting to ache even more abscesses. And my wife even asked me to stop because it was so bad. But I said to myself, no, I will continue that because I took the decision, I will continue. And that's what people need to understand, that when you change your lifestyle, and especially when the way I went cold turkey, I had all these detox symptoms, and that's how the body detoxifies itself, that's how the body heals itself. But for most people, they will say, no, it's not working. And they will go back to eat the same crap that they were eating before.
Right.
But for me, I was really persistent. And after a week, I was able to lose 11 pounds, and all the symptoms disappeared.
Wow.
And I started to have lots of energy, lots of mental clarity. And basically, after 4 months, I went back to my doctor, and he told me that my blood pressure was gone, even though he told me that I would be on medication for the rest of my life.
Right.
And after 9 months, I was able to lose 77 pounds, and all my chronic diseases went away. And since 2016 that I've embraced this lifestyle, I've not been sick a single day.
Wow.
And for the past 9 years, I've not taken a single pill, not even a paracetamol.
That's it right there, man. That's incredible. Like you have incredible mental fortitude. I could tell that just from your story and the way you approach things, because most people, that if they were to make the decision, okay, I'm going to stop eating meat because I want to see if I could reverse my disease. As soon as they started getting those extra symptoms, they would have quit. Or even if I've seen people get through the detox symptoms and start to feel better, and then later down the road, they're back on the meat, they're back eating the same things that they were eating before. And they will get sick again, and they will wonder, why am I sick again? It's like it doesn't even register that it's the food. Like they're so addicted to the food, which I'm not judging. It's a very major problem here in the United States. Like food addiction is one of the biggest issues that we have because they put additives in the food to make you addicted so that you can consume more and they can make more money off of you.
Yeah,
and we don't have any regulatory bodies that are actually going to be responsible and say, hey, you can't put this stuff in the food, because all the governments are actually in cahoots. They're working with the companies. They're getting kickbacks.
Yeah.
So the more the company makes, the more this government official who's supposed to be regulating the food, he makes more money.
Yeah.
So it's out of control over here. And but I'm seeing it's like that in the UK as well.
Yes, it's all the same government. It's exactly the same thing. But I would imagine that from all the research that I've done, it's apparently it's like in the United States, it's more aggressive. But here in the UK, yes, it's still the same. It's still the same. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you mentioned that your wife was worried about you after that first week, and your symptoms started getting worse. How does she feel about it now that what does she think of your results and what you were able to accomplish?
She was very proud of me. And in fact, after 2 weeks of me changing, she said, okay, I'm going to do that as well. So I was very fortunate that, because in a lot of people, maybe one of the spouse will do, the other one will refuse. But for me, I was very blessed, and she was okay to start that after 2 weeks, because when I took that drastic decision, I didn't want to embark them. I just said, okay, I will do that myself.
Right.
2 weeks after that, she said, okay, I can see the results. I will do that myself.
Wow.
And for her, she was able to lose 99 pounds.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And I'm assuming that she feels better, she has better clarity of mind, probably sleeps better, all that stuff.
Yes. And a month after changing, because it was really life-changing, we sat our kids and we told them that, okay, we're not going to eat meat anymore in this house. We're going to go plant-based. Obviously, they were not happy. They were very unhappy at the beginning. But I said, okay, this is my house. That's what we need to do. And today, they really, really thank me for that. Because, for example, I've got one of my sons. He had eczema for 11 years. We saw doctors. They prescribed all sorts of creams, but there were no changes. But when we adopted this plant-based nutrition, it only took 2 weeks for his entire eczema to disappear completely.
Wow. 2 weeks.
2 weeks only, 11 years on medication, no changes, 2 weeks only on a plant-based nutrition, and everything was completely gone.
So, I mean, that says it all.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's pretend that we are the doctors and we have we are the farmers, we're the pharmacists, we have the medication, and we have a patient that has eczema. We can say, okay, to do this lifestyle change, your eczema will go away. We might get paid one time for the visit, maybe, $100 or whatever, and then that's it. Or what we could do is we could tell them there's nothing you could do. You're born this way. You're always going to have it. And here's a medication to help treat it. That doesn't even really work very well. But you have to take it every single day or every week or every month. And over the span of 11 years, we can make $11,000.
Exactly.
It's pretty clear which one we might decide if we're good businessmen.
Yeah. And that's why I just don't understand why people cannot understand that the pharmaceutical industry can only strive when they are sick people. And that's why the culture or the world, the world is being designed is to make people sick by the food they give you, the water that they give you, the cosmetic product. Every single stuff is done to make you sick so that they can sell you medication. And I just don't understand why people cannot see that the medication is not the solution.
Brainwashing. Like if okay, so go back to your story. You had an opportunity when you were, from 0 to 29 to live in a country where you didn't have to worry about all these issues and diseases, and then you went to a country where it was normal and you just adopted it. You didn't think, hey, this is wrong. Back home it's like this. You just adopted and you thought, oh, it's normal. You get old, you get sick. That's just what happens. And that's what it is. And we have a lot of programming, our TV. I don't know about in the UK, but over here, the pharmaceutical companies can actually they have advertisements. So they can, through commercials, they could advertise, hey, are you feeling sick? Are you feeling depressed? Are you lonely? Take this pill. It'll make you feel better. And they're allowed to do that here. So and then on the other side, if you have somebody who's like a holistic wellness coach or a naturopath doctor, they'll say, oh, they're quacks. They don't know what they're talking about. That stuff doesn't work,
Exactly. And that's why, for example, I've got my YouTube channel, and up to this day, I think YouTube has already removed 15 of my videos because of medical misinformation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Insane. So I've only had maybe 4 videos removed in the whole time, but I already know what I can and can't say. And it's frustrating because you want to say certain things, you want to tell people like you can reverse anything. You want to say that, but you can't. They're going to take your video down.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I wanted to get into like the nuts and bolts of it. Like what were you eating? Like maybe how frequently were you eating? How much water were you drinking? Did you drink juice? Like if you were able to reverse this with your dietary strategy, let's get into more intimate details.
Yeah, so basically what's happened is that what I are starting to do is that first of all, I'm starting to introduce intermittent fasting, because what I was able to understand is that 80% of our energy is produced to digest food. And when your body, when you're digesting food, your body cannot heal and cleanse. And that's why you need to take some rest where you're not digesting. And at that time, your body will do the healing and the cleansing and all that. And what is unfortunate is in the culture, we've been indoctrinated to think that we need to eat all the time. All the time, people are eating. So that's the first thing that I was able to incorporate, intermittent fasting. And then I was able to incorporate as well the fruit. So for example, because I eat at 12 noon and then 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. And then at 12 noon, I always eat fruit. So I don't have the breakfast and all these things, it's only fruit. And then at 7 p.m., for example, I will have, for example, rice with beans, with mushrooms and stuff like that. So that's what I was doing for the first 5 years. And then after that, so for example, for the time being, 98% raw. So most of my stuff are raw, just 2% are cooked food. So basically, that's what I was doing to be able to get to this level of health. So it was mostly whole food. But it's not like I never eat a processed food. I can still have, sometimes I will have some vegan ice cream or some vegan chocolate or something like that, but it's very minimal. And for example, if I have to eat a processed food, it needs to be vegan. And it's very, very minimal. Yeah.
Okay. I like that. It's balance. People get afraid of certain stories because they think, oh, okay, I have heart disease or I have high cholesterol, I have diabetes or whatever. And someone says, "Oh, but you could reverse all of that if you just ate raw." You know what I mean? Just eat raw and you can reverse it all, which is true.
Yeah,
However, that's not very attractive. People are like, "I don't want to just eat raw," you
yeah.
know? So having that balance is important. How difficult would you say it was for you to transition from eating, just really a standard diet, processed foods, meat, to eating like more raw and eating more whole foods? Was it an easy transition for you, or did you have some difficulty with like recipes? What was that like?
For me, because when I watched that Indian yogi, I was so I really, really understood that this is the way that I need to go.
Mm,
And for me, because of that, because it's mindset, in my mind, I knew that this is the way. And because of that, it was not difficult because for a lot of people, when they, especially like me, I went cold turkey. A lot of people will have some cravings and things like that. But for me, I didn't have that. Even though when I changed, I didn't even know what I was going to eat. But I starting to watch a lot of videos on YouTube and all that, and I starting to see recipes and stuff like that, and that's how I was able to change. But I didn't. It was not. I don't remember for me that it was difficult because when I said, okay, I'm going to do that, I set the intention. I set my mind on that, and because of that, it was not difficult. Because for most people, when they change, they're not unsure. The why is not so. It's not big,
mm,
and that's why they can become flip flop, and that's why it's difficult for them to stay on track. But for
mm,
me, because I knew that that's the way I wanted to go, and I even remember, for example, uh, all the pain that I was suffering, I was going through when I was sick, and I didn't want to go through that anymore. Just because of that, I said to myself, I'm not going to eat animal product anymore. I'm not going to eat the usual processed food. I'm not going to have dairy product and all that. So in
mm.
my mind, it was very clear. And I think because of that, I didn't have all this craving and it was very easy for me to do the transition.
Gotcha. Yeah, I wish it was like that for everybody. That's how it was for me. So I had an infection. One of the main things that pushed me to my wellness journey was an infection that seemed to be getting worse it was like a internal thing. None of the doctors, they couldn't tell me what it was. It was just it was just irritating my body. And I fasted. I might have did 1 or 2 days of fasting. And by the time I had fasted for like 2 days, the infection had gone away, the irritation. And I knew that this was the key to my health. Like it was instant. I knew it. And I just continued down that road, changing my diet and doing all these other things. And of course, here we are today. And I don't have to deal with that. And just like you, um, sickness is really a thing of the past. I never really got sick before. I just dealt, we don't come from a very sickly family, but twice a year on the winter solstice and the summer solstice, I would get like a little itch in my throat and like some mucus and stuff like that. And I just thought that was normal. That was just what it was. And when I changed my diet and I got healthy, I started fasting, drinking water. I didn't even get sick during those times anymore. It's like I have no fear of getting sick anymore, like none. I feel as though like, when um that thing that was happening back in 2020 that had the whole world
Yeah,
shut
yeah,
down, we'll just say that thing, when that
yeah.
was happening, I had no fear at all, you know?
Same with me.
Okay, I was gonna ask, so do you find that now that you have learned all this stuff about your body, you feel though your immune system is really gonna take care of you? You don't have to worry about sickness anymore.
No, no. For example, I'll give you a simple example. Like I said, I grew up in Africa, and usually, what was the disease that I was suffering a lot from was malaria.
Mm,
And people need to know that malaria is a very dangerous disease, and if left untreated, after 5 days you die.
wow.
And for example, my uncle, he died in 1996. He had malaria, And where he was, instead of coming maybe to get treatment, he stayed over there where he was. And after 5 days, he was dead. And when I was growing up, I used to have malaria all the time. And because my parents got divorced when I was just 8, and my dad was a lecturer at the university, and my mom was a nurse. So my dad will take me to my mom so she can treat me and all that. So I had the malaria a lot and a lot and a lot. But in 2018, because I changed my lifestyle in 2016, in 2018, I said, okay, I'm going to go back home to see my dad because he's still over there. And my mom, she's in Canada. She told me that, Olivier, you're going back to Congo. You need to take some medication, some preventive medication, because you remember the way you were suffering from malaria all the time. You need to take medication. I said to my mom, no, that's it. I'm done with medication because I've been able to learn how my body functions. I've been able to build a strong immunity. I don't need any medication. She said, no, you need medication because if your life doesn't mean anything to you, we want to see you around. I said to my mom, no, I'm not going to take any medication. Wow. So I flew back home. I went over there. I was bitten by mosquitoes. I came back. No malaria.
Right.
Nothing. And even in the on my way back to the UK, the woman who on the flight who was next to me, she was full of cold. I didn't get anything. But I remember at my last place of work, as soon as someone will have a cold, I will have that as well.
Right.
So I was able to build a very strong immunity, and that's why I'm not scared of having any disease anymore. Nice. I'm not scared anymore. So even the stuff that you were saying that we had in 2020, even when they were saying to people, do this, do that, I said to myself, I've got my immune system is very strong. I don't need to worry about all these things.
Man, that was a good story. That's man, you have some incredible willpower. You have some incredible mental fortitude because so many people, even with everything you've experienced, so many people would remember their childhood trauma and say, hey, my mom's right. Let me go ahead and get some medication just in case, you know? Yeah. And you really just stared the monster in the face. It was like, I'm not scared of you. Because so the same way that we deal with propaganda here, they do that everywhere. And one of the things that they want to teach you is that your body is incomplete. It's not perfect, not close to perfection. It doesn't have all the tools it needs to protect you. You have to take medication. You have to get a shot or something in order to keep you safe. And they really trick and manipulate us into believing that because for whatever reason, something was going on in your country, whether it was in the water or in the dirt or in the air or in the food, that was making you susceptible to this disease, or maybe they were even giving it to you. You know, I don't put it past them. I've seen them give people disease. So now all of a sudden you think this is a real problem. You're getting it all the time. Your body's having a hard time with it. But the reality is it's all smoke and mirrors. You know, they're actively making you. So they did that with AIDS. So what was I guess technically HIV, but they were telling everybody, hey, you know, there's this thing going around. It's a virus. When you get it, you can't get rid of it, and it was killing a lot of people. Right. Come to find out, they were giving people AIDS. It wasn't just a natural thing that was happening. They were actually, through the drug ATZ, they were actually giving them the disease, you know? And that's because it's like, how is a virus only going to affect certain groups of people? Like, why wouldn't it affect everybody?
Yeah.
Right? So you were able to have this incredible impact on yourself and your family, by the way. But what is it that you do now? Like, because you help people, right?
Yeah. So basically what I'm doing now is that because this transformation had a very great impact on me, and I was able to see that we were fed a lie that we need to get sick. And that's not true. And because of that, I said to myself, okay, I'm going to help people as well. I'm going to help people to understand that the default is good health. If you start eating the food biologically designed for the human mechanism, you start exposing yourself to sunlight, you drink enough water, you eat, you do intermittent fasting, you don't eat at all time, you respect all these things, you're not going to be sick. Because when we look even at animals in the forest, when you look at them, there are no vets over there. But because they eat the food biologically designed for the system, they follow the laws of they follow the laws of nature. That's why they don't get sick. But when you look at animals who live with us, they get just as sick as us. And when I saw all this, I said to myself, okay, I'm going to start helping people to be able to transform their lives and to lose weight and transform their lives. And that's why I designed my program, which is a 16-week one-on-one coaching program where I help people to lose weight, but most importantly, to reclaim their health. Because in the industry, people think that when you are slim, it means that you're in good health. It doesn't necessarily mean that. Because, for example, I've got my uncle. He died last year. In 2 years ago. It was in 2022. When he died of diabetes, he was very slim. And I even remember I told him, you need to change your way of eating. Diabetes is not a dangerous disease. It's just a lifestyle disease. If you change your way of eating, you're going to be able to reverse that. But obviously didn't listen to me. So he died, but he was very slim. And what I'm doing really with my program is not only to help people lose weight, but for them to reclaim their health. Yeah. And especially with the system in which we are, if you depend on the medical system, you start taking the medication, it's going to be very difficult for you to be free. And the only way for you to free yourself is, first of all, to acquire health independence, to be able to turn inward, to know, basically to be able to take full responsibility of your health instead of giving that to a doctor or some medical practitioner and stuff like that. And when you do that, you become the master of your life. And that's really what I want to put in people when they come to my program.
Beautiful. Oh man, you nailed it. I use weight as a way to draw people in because a lot of people do think that losing weight or being slim, we should say, means you're healthy. So, and then also we're very vain here. So we, aesthetically, we want to look good. So I will draw people in with the weight loss. Hey, you want to lose 100 pounds? I can help you do that. And then once you're here, the goal is to really educate people so they understand that it's way bigger than just weight loss. Because like you said, regaining your health, that is the key. Because one of our coaches was actually a very slim, very young, slim girl, looked healthy, just you never would have thought anything was going on. And she was a pre-diabetic dealing with severe constipation and that those issues were mounting. And her life would have been very, very different over the next 10 years had she not made those changes. So you are 100% correct. And, I personally think that it takes a special kind of person to do what you do because there's a lot of people that are sick. They figure out something that works for them. They just fix themselves and then that's it. They don't share it. They're not, they don't build a whole platform and create a course. Is there some specific reason why you wanted to help other people?
Yes, because for me, the suffering that I see in the world is really not good. It really, really pains me to see my brothers and sisters suffering from stuff that they cannot have, they cannot suffer from. It really, really pains me. And that's why for me, it was like a life mission, like a life purpose, if I have to die without helping people, it would like I wasted my time here on earth. And I really, really wanted people to know that they can live a disease-free life. They don't have to be sick. And I didn't want to keep that for myself. But what is really ironic is that apart from my wife and my kids and my brother, my sisters, my cousins, my mom, my dad, all of them, they don't want to hear anything from me.
Yeah.
They don't want.
Yeah.
Which is really, really bizarre. But they all, and that's why, for example, I had a conversation with my mom 2 weeks last week. And I was telling her because I told her that maybe in the future, I would like to go back to Africa because I don't like the weather. I don't like the weather, and over there, I would like the fruit will be better because with my lifestyle, I think in Africa it's going to be better for me. And she asked me why do you want to go back? I said, okay, because of this reason. And she said, oh, you're now an extremist. You are mostly raw. This is extreme and stuff like that. I said to my mom, no, I'm not extreme. The problem is if you look in our entire family, you look at your brothers and sisters, you look at in my family and all that. I said, apart from me and my brother, who has been able to become plant-based as well, with vegan, if you look at all of you, you are all sick. Expect me and my brother. And when you look as well, for all this time, we don't take medication. And as soon as I said it, she said, okay, let's talk about something else. And I said, okay, that's fine. And we start talking about something else. And yeah.
That's rough, man.
Yeah.
That, well, first of all, as you probably know, that's common. When someone finds the truth and they try to share it with their family, especially like their immediate family, they always are met with resistance. And I'm gonna tell you why I think that is. You were the little boy that she took care of who had malaria all the time, right? She saw you sick all the time. How could you possibly know what you're talking about? You were so sick. You know, and especially her being professionally trained as a nurse, you know, that is, ooh, that indoctrination is deep. And it's unfortunate because it's always the ones closer to us that we want to help the most.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, and I was so frustrated when I very first learned this information and I tried to share it with my family, and they really thought it was a game because you had mentioned your uncle passed from diabetes. My uncle passed from cancer. And I kept thinking, if I knew this information before, if I had this information before, I could have saved him. I could have helped him. Probably not. He probably wouldn't have listened to me, you know? And that's the reality. And that's the part that's sad about it, that we're indoctrinated so deeply that when we hear something that is natural and makes sense, we reject it, even to the point where we can't even have a conversation. Like we're not even allowed to have this conversation because you're going to get upset. So I had to actually stop talking to certain people in my family because it's gonna come up, right? Like we do this for a living. It's part of our life. It's gonna come up.
Yeah.
And now they feel like, oh, you know, he's an extremist or da da da. And I don't want to talk to him about that. They want to live the way they're living. And it took me a while to really understand that and come to grips with that.
Yeah, exactly. For example, when you saying that even if you spoke to your uncle, maybe it would not have changed. It's like me in 2018 when I went back to Congo. I spoke to my uncle. I explained to them all these things, and it was just like that. Yeah. Today, he's paralyzed. So he had a heart attack or something like that. So he's paralyzed on I think the left side. So he can't even walk anymore and stuff like that. But at that time, if he had followed my advice, it would be in a different situation. But he just said, yo. And then today he's paralyzed.
That's rough.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that even at this point, he still wouldn't listen.
No, he's still on full medication. That's all. He's got his pills that he's taking. They don't want to listen to me. And now, like you said, it's a conversation that I don't even want to talk with them anymore. It's like even in the past when I was doing my YouTube videos, I would send that to talk to my mom, to my sisters. Now I've stopped doing that. I don't send them that anymore because now when we talk about everything else, but not about nutrition anymore. Because at some point they were saying that I'm crazy. So I said, okay, because we don't have to continue to talk about it. We'll talk about anything else, but not this anymore.
That's okay. So when your mom said you were an extremist, I thought to myself, okay, what you're doing is completely natural. It is the opposite of extreme. It's in alignment with nature. What is extreme is taking pharmaceutical pills. People don't know this, but all the medication, they're petroleum byproducts. So you have petroleum, you're taking these petroleum byproducts in order to heal your body, but you can never have a petroleum deficiency in your body. So if your body does not require this substance that you're putting in it, how could it ever help you? Like, it's an inorganic byproduct from something that you don't need, that you can't get anything from, and you're going to use that to make you healthy. It's absurd. That's extreme.
Yeah.
Like you saying, hey, eat this apple, eat this mango, stop eating processed foods. Now, that's the extreme part. And what's crazy about it is when we think from a business standpoint, how many more chemicals and how many more ingredients do you need to make a Snickers bar versus to, make like a smoothie? So we have all these extra chemicals and you have to spend all this extra money and have all this crazy machinery to manufacture this super toxic product, this food thing. And it costs way more, the packaging and everything. Or you could just do a smoothie that would be just as satisfying, more satisfying, healthier for your body. But that's the extreme thing. It's, yeah.
And even when you look at the name pharmacy, when you look that in Greek, it means pharmakia. And when you look at pharmakia, it means poison. So when people go in a drugstore or in a pharmacy to buy all this medication, basically they're going to buy themselves some poison if they don't know that, because that's what it means. Pharmakia means poison.
You're absolutely right. But it's written on the wall because even we all know that drugs are bad. We were all taught that. Drugs are bad. They had major campaigns here in America against drugs. They called it the war on drugs. And so we know drugs are bad, but yet we will go to the drugstore and purchase drugs to make us healthy. That is extreme.
This reminds me.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you can go on. Yeah, it reminds me of a story as well. Just when I was still back in Africa, we had a small dog. So basically, like I was telling you, that we were suffering from malaria all the time. So my cousin, she was 8 years older than us. And then she gave us some preventive tablet to combat malaria. So basically, she gave me and my brother. And I don't know, she had that crazy idea. And she said, okay, I'm going to give that we had a small dog. I'm going to give that medication to the dog as well, because maybe, I don't know where she had the idea that a dog can suffer from malaria, but she said, okay, if maybe some thieves come here, the dog will not be able to, if he's sick, he's not going to be able to defend us and stuff. So she gave the dog a pill as well. We continued to play it, and we couldn't see the dog anymore. We're starting to look for him, and we saw him. He was underneath the sofa. We took him out, and the dog could not stand up anymore. We gave him some food. He was just wagging his tail, and after 2 minutes, he just pulled and he died.
Wow.
So you can see that the same medication that me and my brother had, was able to kill the dog because the dog was so small, it was not able to withstand the poison.
Right.
So basically, me and my brother, we took the same poison, but because we were bigger, that's why we were able to withstand that.
Right.
Which means that medication is a poison. I just don't understand how people can think that by taking a poison, all of a sudden it can give them life.
Right.
I just don't understand that.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully for those listening now, you can understand that the medication is not, it's not a life-giving medication. What it does is it numbs the senses in the body so that you don't have symptoms. Now, here's how balanced I am. I believe that in certain extreme situations, medication can be helpful. Because if you get hit by a bus, you get stabbed, if you're having extreme pain or extreme trauma, you could take a medication and it will numb the pain so that you can go through a surgery or whatever and not, feel all of that trauma. And I think that that could be very beneficial because that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to numb the symptom, numb the pain. But you can never get health from that.
Mm-hmm.
And so all I'm saying is, doctors, stay in your lane. You deal with trauma, let healers deal with health. Everybody's happy. The problem is the pharmaceutical companies like, nah, we want to own all of this disease, everything going on. And through lobbying and through ads and through backdoor deals, they control the narrative. And now, we promote sickness in the country to line the pockets of big corporations, which is insane. So you have a YouTube channel. What all do you have? You have your program, you've got the YouTube channel. Tell me about what you have available, where people can reach you, Instagram, whatever you have, because I'm sure people are going to be very interested to talk to you.
Yes. So first of all, I would like to give your listeners and your viewers a free gift, which is my 7 tips to lose weight. I'll give you the link if you will be able to put that in the show notes. And,
absolutely.
They will be able to have that for free. And then I've got as well my book, which is the Plant-Based Nutrition, How It's Going to Change Your Life. They can go on Amazon, they can have that over there, or they can go on my website, which is oliviermankondo.com. That's oliviermankondo.com. They can go over there and they will be able to have the book as well. And I've got my YouTube channel as well, but I am more active on TikTok. I'm more active on TikTok. Yeah. I've got Instagram as well. I think it's Olivier Mankondo. So if they just type my name, they will see me over there.
Excellent. Yeah, well, we'll definitely add all your socials to the show notes. We'll add that free gift. Thank you. I'm sure people are going to be taking advantage of that. Hey, yo, check his book out. I can tell you guys just from interacting with you, doing a little research on you before we actually spoke, that you know exactly what you're talking about. And I think one of the reasons why your story resonates with me so much is it's so similar. I didn't go to some school to learn this. It's through life experience. So you heard the guru say, hey, stop eating plant food or animal foods, eliminate 70% of the disease. And you said, okay, let me experiment. Let me try. And that type of mindset is why you were able to do what you do and why you're able to teach. Because if you can only go to a book to get information, like if you don't have the critical thinking or you don't have the desire to want to experiment, you can only go to a book and get information. But when you're a teacher, you have to be able to say, okay, here's a unique situation. Let me think about my life experience. Let me think about what I've learned and then be able to give a solution to that person for their unique experience. And what I've noticed is that by understanding the foundation of how the body works, it's very easy. Like all of your solutions are going to be very, very simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I was going to say, everybody, make sure to go check out his content, check out his YouTube, join his TikTok, check out the website, get the book, utilize the free program and the information that's been given to you. Because one of the things that I see far too often, people will have solutions available to them right in front of their eyes, but because it doesn't come in the package that they think that it needs to come in or that they expect, they miss it. Don't miss the opportunity to, really change your life forever through this knowledge that's being provided. And I bet you all, if you listen to my content, I bet you'll find that in Oliver's content, you're going to see that a lot of it is similar. Like I already know, because when it comes to fasting, so like I have a very heavy focus on fasting.
Yeah.
There are other fasting channels out there. I know when someone is teaching fasting through experience and through actual, what they were actually able to benefit from it versus just reading a book or reading a study. Because the way that I teach fasting is going to be the same way that they teach fasting if they experience fasting, if they actually do it themselves. If they don't, if they're just reading it from a book, the knowledge is a little different, So this has
it's
been
like, for example, like you were talking about fasting, because we need to do all these things by experience. It's like just an example. When I was still dealing with all the, when I've already changed my way of eating, I still had my nail. My nail was swollen because of all the bad habit that I had before. My nails was swollen and it was nearly damaged. And I did a 3-day fast. After that 3-day fast, just after a week, I look at my nails, it was rebuilt completely.
wow.
So now if people see my nail, they will not even believe that it was completely damaged just by a 3-day fast. So the way you were saying is that when you have experience, that's the best teacher instead of just reading studies or books and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, the books and it's good to get the knowledge, but you have to apply it. You have to have your own experience with it. And that's when it becomes solidified and you start to trust yourself and trust your body. I wanted to ask you, because you lost quite a bit of weight. Did you deal with any loose skin?
That's exactly the secret when you do fasting or you lose weight in the natural way. You don't have any loose skin. That's the beauty. You don't have any. Even my wife, she 99 pounds, she's got no loose skin. So that's the secret. But people, when they go under the knife or they do very hard physical exercises to lose weight so rapidly that the body cannot keep up, and they are left with hanging skin or loose skin, which will require more operation, and they will have to spend more money.
Yeah.
But in my case, no loose skin. I've got my brother as well. The one that I told you that the only one who has been able to change. He has been able to lose 70 pounds as well. He was pre-diabetic. It's gone. He was suffering from psoriasis for 8 years. And the doctor told him that he will be on the medication for the rest of his life. But when I introduced him to this plant-based nutrition, everything is completely gone.
Yeah.
Completely. So, yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I try to tell people that you can lose 100 pounds, 200 pounds. My brother lost 200 pounds and has no loose skin. When you do things the right way, you get the optimal results. Now, is it the easiest way? No, because it's way easier, believe it or not, to go under the knife and get that surgery. It really is.
Yeah.
But what they don't tell you is, in order to maintain the benefit that you get from that surgery, you're going to have to change your diet. You're going to have to, eat differently.
Exactly.
You're always going back to what we were, look, just do it the right way the first time.
Yeah. It's like my cousin, for example, she had an operation. She was able to lose weight. And now she's got all the way back on. So now you ask yourself, why did she have the operation in the first place?
Right.
Yeah.
And that surgery is risky. You know,
Yeah.
people think, oh, it's nothing, no, people die on that surgery
Yeah.
table. So it's like, do you want to take that risk, or you have complications for the rest of your life because of that surgery? You
Yeah.
know, and I'm not here to bash anybody who got the surgery. If you thought that it was the right thing to do, or if you thought it was the best route, I understand that. However, I think it's important for other people to know there is a better way. There's a safer way, and there's a more efficient way.
Yeah.
So, Oliver, do you got any last words for us, man? This has been an incredible interaction.
Yeah. What I can say to people is that when we are born on this earth, the most important thing that we have, it's our body. It's our temple, and we've only got one. So we need to make sure that we do everything we can to be in good health so that we can have a longer and fruitful life. We are the master of our lives, and we've got the power to change whatever we want.
That's it. All right, listen, y'all. If you like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe. And as always, the application of knowledge is power. And I'll see you all next time.
Okay, bye-bye.